Okay, so jumping straight in, this is the Sewfisticated Peony. So this is what it looks like on the inside. This is the original version. So Jassie's just done the update. So what the update is the addition to add in card slots, so credit card slots if you'd like to. So at the moment it is a divider, a zipper pocket and a divider as per the original instructions for when the Peony was first released. Now everyone who's already bought the pattern, don't worry, you will be sent the add-on instructions for the credit card slots. If you haven't bought the instructions and you're going to buy them now because of the credit card slots, these will be in the new instructions going forward as well. So let's just quickly show you. So this is one that I've made before with the previous instructions. So what we've done now is Jassie's given us an option to make these credit card slots. Okay, so let's move on to the cut list and what we need done. So first of all, your biggest decision is to decide what you want to do, whether you want divider slips or card slips or a mixture of both. So you will end up cutting 2. So you're cutting for 2 of these only. So you can give yourself an option of, you can do 2 lots of the card slots, or you can do 2 lots of the divider tabs like the original pattern called for. You can do a mix of divider tab and card slots, but all you ever need is 2 completed. Okay, so I am going to be doing 1 card slot and 1 divider pocket. So for the card slot, we'll have 1 pattern piece, which is the card slot piece. And then you'll also have the card slot lining. So you'll have 2 pieces to cut 1 card slot piece, okay? Now, on the pattern instructions, Jassie has given us the measurements, but the measurements are also available on your pattern pieces as well. So depending on how you cut this piece, transfer those markings across to where they are. I'll bring this up a little bit. You should still be able to see it. So I've already transferred all my markings across there so that I can get started working on this straight away. Now I do have another video that gives tips and hints on how to do card slot pockets. So a lot of what I'm doing here is quite similar to that, but I'll show you guys this. So the first thing we're going to work on is the actual card slot slip. So we've transferred all the markings across like I've already said. And what I like to do is I like to actually cut the indents as well. So what I found is by cutting the indents, it makes it easier to fold exactly where we need to fold to. So as you can probably see right now, I'm not cutting every single one. I'm only cutting the one that I'm going to fold. So obviously I know which one that is. But if you don't, you are cutting the dashed line on the pattern pieces, okay? Otherwise, if you cut them all, that's fine too. I used to do that. I just like to save time a little bit more now. Okay, so that's all cut. Now, if you've never done card slots before, something that's really important is your fabric choice. I probably should have mentioned this before I started cutting. So this is Sewfisticated, one of their fabric options called Vibrant Voo. It is a waterproof fabric. It's really nice. It's super soft, but it also holds its shape really well, which is why I like to use it for card slots. The other product that they have is Sewfisticated Twill, which if you've seen my videos, you know I use a lot of as well. Again, it's perfect for card slots because it holds its shape really well. So when you fold it and need to hold the pattern, it does that really, really well, which is obviously something that you need when you're working with card slots because you're about to fold and you want to hold the shape. Anyway, long talking. So what we're going to do now is our marks that have been transferred across, we are going to fold the fold line and bring it up to the meeting line. So that's the second marker that you've made from the top down. Fold it. And then you're going to bring it up to meet that marker. Just like that. and you're going to finger press it a fair bit, because what you want to do is be able to hold those lines. Now, this is why fabric choice is so important here. So one fabric choice that I would probably recommend you stay away from if you've not done a lot of card slots is poplin. I've used to use poplin a fair bit, or I tried to anyway, and my card slots always ended up wonky. They're just a little bit, I don't know if it's because it's softer or it just doesn't have as much structure, so it just makes it harder to hold its shape. And when it doesn't hold its shape, it just crumbles, and then so when you sew it on the sewing machine, it just doesn't work as well. Or at least that's what I found for myself anyway. So maybe you might have better luck than I do, but you want something that's not too thick because you want your machine to be able to handle it, but you also want something that's not too thin and flimsy so that your lines actually stick, I guess. So it's that fun part of finding that nice medium. Okay, so as I was talking, I was folding. As you can see, that's all now folded and matched. So all I've done is just fold and match to the line on the pattern pieces. Okay, so now that that's done, we should be able to get our original piece, the lining piece. We should be able to measure it up against it, and it should measure the same height, which it does. So that means you folded it absolutely perfectly and you are good to go. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to top stitch. So we're going to top stitch just along each one of these card slots. Now, this is also a good time to check to make sure that your cards are going to fit. So grab a card and quickly check it. Go. Obviously at this stage, they're just there, but it's just mainly to check to make sure, yep, it fits in there. That's all good. Okay, so now we're just going to take it over to the sewing machine. Okay, so we're over at the sewing machine now. So like I said, we're going to top stitch each of these. So the way I like to do it is I like to get my clip and move it down a little bit, and so that my first section here is clear. I fold the back out of the way, and then I'm just going to top stitch this at 1/8 seam allowance. Okay, so that top line is stitched, and now I'm going to do the next one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get clips. I'm going to clip that first one that I've just sewn. I'm going to clip that in place with my dot that I've marked before, so that those spots are held on together. And again, I'm going to move this clip down a little bit to let this one come out, and fold that down, and there we go. And again, I'm just going to move that clip to hold the two ones that have been top stitched into position. I'm going to take that last clip off. That's why it's important that this holds its space, because even then when it clips open like that, I can quickly fix it back up. There we go. And then again, bring this one up to the mark and clip it. Okay, now that that's done, what we're going to do is we are going to top stitch both of these sides. I found I have better, I don't know if luck's the right word, but I find it's easier to hold everything in place when you top stitch from the bottom up. So that's what I'm going to do. You don't have to start right from the edge. You just need to start from where your card slots are. And what I'm doing now with this hand is I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on here to hold all of my folds in place. And I'm doing the same with this finger here. Just holding all my folds in place so that they don't move as it's being pulled by the feed dogs. There we go. There we go. So that's all top stitched. So If you wanted to give your cards another try, you can. I quite trust my top stitching, so I think I'm okay. Now what we're going to do is we are going to mark the center. So I like to mark by just cutting a little bit there. Now, what we're about to do now is we're going to stitch a straight line straight up the middle there. So if you trust your stitching, mine's a vintage straight stitch machine. It's actually quite hard to go wonky, at least for me, I've found. So I'm just going to stitch it. But if you're not 100% sure and you have fabric removable ink, like a heat proof ink or something like that, draw the straight line because it's important that that line is as straight as possible. So what we're going to do is make sure you're also still holding these in place so that it still doesn't shift. These are sewn together, so it shouldn't shift too much, but you still want to just hold it tight to just make sure it really doesn't stitch at all. Doesn't shift at all. Now, you can do one line, go back down and do one another eighth down. I like to just continue sewing, so I'm going across and then I'm coming back down. Jassy also has a hint or a tip, I guess, that you can, if you wanted to reverse stitch along each of these edges just to make sure that it's nice and stable. But there it is. So that is pretty much your card slot section. And now the next thing we're going to do is, if you have label tags, now's the time to add your label tag if you want your label tag on the card slot pockets. The original instructions also had the option for you to put your label tag on the divider pocket. So if you are doing yours on the divider pocket, then you do not, or you still can if you want to, but you don't have to put it on your card slots as well. So your label tag can just go, either side's okay, it's completely up to you. I just like to do this side because it's easier for me. Just a little bit down from the bottom, doesn't matter where it is exactly. You don't want it too high up because you don't want it to distract from your cards and make it more annoying for people to get their cards in and out. But we're just basting that on there. Okay, all done. Okay, so now that that card slot is all top stitched and all good to go, we are going to get our card slot lining and we're going to put it right sides together. Go. And we're going to take it over to the sewing table and we're going to sew the top and the bottom with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So that's right sides together and 1/4 inch on the top and the bottom. Okay, sorry. Okay, now that that's done, we've just stitched that top and bottom together at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So now what we're going to do is we're going to trim all those corners just to reduce the bulk a little bit. There we go. And we're going to turn it right side out. And I'm just going to flatten those seams a little bit. Go. And then I am going to top stitch around the whole perimeter at a 1/8 seam allowance. There we go. And that's all done. So that is how you make the add-on card slot pocket for the Sewfisticated Peony. So that is our credit card pocket all done now for the Peony add-on. Now, one more quick thing before you guys head back over to either my original video for the Peony or back over to the instructions. So I just want to show you how this piece then goes on to the lining piece. So after you've finished making your credit card slips and you've added on the side panels, you'll have something that looks like this. And obviously all these instructions are in the original Peony, but I just wanted to confirm to let you guys know how this goes on. Now, the main thing is that you have your card slots facing, for the top one facing that direction, so facing upwards, and the other one facing that direction. So you can see the card slots are going that way and that way. It doesn't matter if the card slots are facing inwards or outwards. The main difference is just how it would face in the finished bag. So if you have it exactly like this right now, where the card slots are facing up and towards that way and that way, what you will end up having is card slots that are here and over on this side, this way, facing in towards the zipper pocket, right? So it'll be there and there. If you have this facing down, this one is the pocket closest to the inside flap. So if you have it facing down like that, your credit card slots will be here. If you have this one facing down, your credit card slots will be here. Okay, so that's the only difference. Make sure they are facing the right directions, and whether it goes this way or this way, that's completely up to you and it's personal choice. So thank you so much for joining me on the Peony add-on. So as I said, we've just finished our card slots, which as you open it up here, I've just done it right there. So that's our Peony card slots add-on for the Sophisticated Peony. Don't forget that I do have a full video on how to make the Peony. I'll have the link below. I'll also have the link to the Peony pattern by Sewfisticated Craft Designs. Thanks again for joining me. It's Sam from Made by Ireland. I'll see you next time.